Okay, you're ready to go?
We are.
Okay, good morning, Coastal Premier. How's everybody?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Well, we'll hope maybe some other people will tune in, but obviously, since we're recording this, you can do whatever you'd like with it. But again, I'm David Knox. I'd like to thank you guys for subscribing to our online training. It looks like you had some really, really high usage, and it looks like people have kind of tapered off. So we need to get them back in there, right, Brandon?
That's right, yeah.
Yep. Well, we have just uploaded, I don't know, this year we've probably added 70 or 80 brand new videos. And would it be worthwhile to just give a quick tour of the site?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, well, I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to go to the site. So this is what it looks like when you log in. And by the way, we just went live this week with our brand new site. So if it used to the old one, you might have to look for things in a different spot, but hopefully you'll figure it out that it's very, very clean and simple. And all the video lists is nice and clean, larger thumbnails. It's easier to see what's going on. And the video at the top of the list will always be what's new for the current month. So when you click on that, it'll be this is a 3-minute video on what videos we uploaded. There's the support materials you can click on here and download in PDF the topic list. When you click back on your logo, it goes to the main video page. And there's 2 ways to find videos that 3 ways. One, people oftentimes will just scroll and, they log in every few days and they find out what videos are new. And of course, the new ones are once a month only. And you can just take a look at what's new, take a look at the titles and play them. The other way, you can click on subjects over here on the left, over here. So you click on listing, maybe click on first listing call and see all the videos we have in here on what do you do in those first few minutes of listing. And we have some videos that were recorded very, very recently. And then we've got the mentor series that I did, actually it was 20 years ago. So you can certainly tell when you get to it, but the role plays on it are absolutely perfect for today's market or any market. So same thing, prospecting, click on that, and questions and conversion, referrals. Obviously referrals, 80% of all commissions generated in North America last year came from repeat and referral business. So whatever you do as an agent, you want to make really, really sure that you are following up on your past clients. You have to keep your database, your CRM in order. The other way to find videos is by experience. If you're a brand new agent, you click on the main topic, and then you can click on the subcategories. If you're a brand new agent, just click on getting started. And this is actually a fun interview I did. This lady, Geneva Arledson, brand new agent, 24 years old. I knew her from another event, Cars and Coffee. I know her father. And she's 24, got in the business and wanted to ask me some questions. So we just did this new agent coaching interview and recorded it. So the other way to find videos is you can do the search box, type in a word. The good news is you'll find videos. The bad news is oftentimes you'll find way more than you need. It sometimes doesn't narrow it down as much. So, and then the videos, when you click on them, they will have, most of them have some kind of support material. So you'll see an outline, and you can scroll through the outline and see each section. You can see what we covered in each section, and it just makes it easier. So is there anything else that you would want me to show on the site, Brandon?
Brandon left the room.
I can't hear you, but, oh, okay.
Brandon left the room. Do you want me to call him?
No, that's okay. The other thing that I wanted to point out to listeners is that we have a mobile app called Knox Training. So I don't know, have you downloaded that?
I haven't.
Oh, well, go to your app store and download Knox Training. And when you do that and tap on the app, it will emulate the website and show you just what I showed you online. And the benefit of that is you can watch videos wherever you are anytime. You don't have to worry about logging in. And the other benefit is that you can play the audio only. If you take a look in the upper right-hand corner of the video, you'll see a headphone icon. And when you tap on that, it plays the audio only. So it saves your video cell phone data rate. So so any other questions on that?
I have David Knox Training, and then I have another one, Knox Videos.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, Knox Training and Knox Videos. The Knox Training is what you want right now. We also have our consumer videos. These are videos that you email or text to your clients that talk about listing and selling and pricing, and that's called Knox videos. So that's a whole nother service for agents only. And
So which one do I?
Knox training.
Training.
Yep. You click on that, and then once it's downloaded, you log in with the same username and password you use online, your email and whatever password Brandon gave you.
All right. Thank you.
So now how long have you been in the business?
About 17 years.
17 years. Okay, you're an experienced agent. Well, one of the things that Brandon wanted me to talk about was converting leads, that and commissions. So let's talk about converting leads first of all. In fact, I want to show, so I'm going to share screen here. I'm going to go back to the site, and I'm going to click on downloads. We completely revamped our download section. So it now sorts by charts and graphs, checklists, scripts and dialogues, etc. And there's one in here called RET Prospecting Questions Mini Card for iPhone, or, well, I should have said mobile device. But when you open it up and print it out, it is a set of questions that you can put, print out, size at your mobile device, and then wherever you are, you can always take a quick peek and see what questions that you would be asking in the way of prospecting. And the question that you want to ask to convert leads today, especially listing leads, when you come across people in whatever capacity, you want to ask, hey, how much longer do you guys plan to stay in your current home? It's just a great question to find out. They might be saying, hey, my daughter's going to college, we might be moving in the fall, or we're going to be here forever. But it's a question that needs to be asked every time you meet somebody. So I believe that, 80% of all commission revenue generated, comes from referrals and repeat business, sphere of influence. So I'm going to assume after 17 years, you've got a pretty good book of business, right?
Yes, well, for sometimes I was doing nothing for different reasons. So
yeah, okay.
I'm back again. That's why coastal properties.
Good. Well, my assignment to you, if I was coaching you, first thing, obviously build up your database, your CRM, get all your people organized, and in whatever database you want. The best database is the one you will use. And then you can start categorizing by past client, buyer, seller, whatever. And the next thing to do, obviously, I think you want to put them on automatic kind of mailings, maybe a broadcast email once a quarter, a physical postcard every other month. It really doesn't matter, but just to keep you in front. In fact, I'm going to just tell a true story that sets this up. There's a lady who worked for me named Erin, young lady, 33, 2 kids, married, does some part-time work for me. And she used to live next door to me. And she now does part-time work for me. Called up and was complaining about her real estate agent being really bad. And I said, well, sorry to hear that. And she wanted to find a new agent. And I said, well, hey, why don't you work with my realtor, the lady who sold my home back in 2012, 6 years ago. She did a great job. She sold my home that's next door to your parents. And Erin said, that would be great. Thank you. What's her name? And I said, her name is, I couldn't remember her name.
Oh.
I forgot who she was because I haven't heard from her in 6 years. So I told Erin, I said, I'll call you back. So I get on my computer and I do a search for my real estate file. And I scroll down and find the purchase agreement. And at the bottom, I see, oh, it's Heidi. My gosh, sure. Yeah, I remember her. So then I go into my email and try to find her. And then I email her this. I said, dear Heidi, my employee, Erin, is looking for a realtor. I wanted to refer you to her, but I had forgotten your name. I haven't heard from you. Are you still in the real estate business?
Oh.
What an embarrassing email for any realtor to get. So she emails back fairly quickly and she says, oh, thank you for going through the extra effort to find me. Yes, I am still in the real estate business, and my husband and I are trying to figure out a good way to connect with our past clients. Really? Do you think after 6 years, maybe you could call or write or text or email or carrier pigeon or something? Nothing. And she's a good agent. Imagine what the bad ones are doing. So there's a quick tip in here that really summarizes that story, quick tip 55. And it says, to be referred, you must first be remembered. So if people can't remember who you are, good luck ever getting a referral from them. So that's why do some of the systematic emailing, postcards, whatever, just so people know who you are. And then my suggestion to you and all people listening is to telephone your past customers and clients, every single one of them. Start wherever you choose. Maybe the oldest clients first, not oldest in age, but the purchased longer time ago, whatever, doesn't matter, alphabetically, call. And there's two words I'll give you that will make you feel comfortable with this. The two words are thank and invite. Thank them for their business or invite them to an event. Yeah. Let's talk about thanking. Call everybody up one at a time. And it would be nice if you could talk to them. So based on that, when you do make these calls, I would want to do it at a time when they're likely to answer the phone. So if you know their work number and you think it's okay to call at work, great. If not, wait till the evenings, weekends. I mean, you figure that out. And then you make your calls. And I did this. I called my top 25 online training clients. Hey, it's David Knox. I just wanted to call and just say thank you for your business. I just really appreciate, and then you can say, I appreciate that you listed your home with me or referred or bought or whatever it was. And just say, I just want you to know, I really appreciate your business and I'm just calling to thank you. That's it. Now, the question is, do you make it a business call? Do you make it a prospecting call? Kind of up to you. They may do that for you. They may come back and say, hey, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. You did a really great job for us. How's everything with you? And then they might say, how's the real estate market? Once they say that, the door is open to talk real estate. Now you can say, we're shortage of inventory, interest rates are down, it's a good time to sell, tough time to buy, whatever. And then ask this question. By the way, you guys, how much longer do you plan to stay in your home? Now, if you just sold it to them last week, this question doesn't work so well. But just imagine if you call up every client you've ever done business with, thank them for their business, and if it feels appropriate, ask them how much longer they plan to stay in their home. And you never know what's going to come of it. If nothing else, at least they know you're alive and well. And then you can follow it. If you really want to go to the great lengths, you follow it up with a handwritten thank you note. So you have a big stack of notes by the phone when you're done. Hey, Jim, thank you for your time. Good to connect with you today. And a stamp, boom, hand address, hand stamp, and fire it out. You do, 5 of those a day. That's a lot of, that's 200 people a year you talk to. If only 10% of them do anything, that's still 20 listings. That's a good start to a year. So that would be my first advice. The second thing you can do, and since you specifically are in the business for 17 years, you probably have the client base and you have the income where you could do an event. I don't know what it would be. It could be a charitable event. It could be a dog rescue. It could be a barbecue. It could be a just because event. You could just call it a client appreciation event. Simply just pick out, have a barbecue in the office parking lot or rent out a movie theater, or it doesn't matter. And then you get on the phone and you call everybody and you invite them to the event. I did a seminar in Manchester, New Hampshire a few days ago. And a guy sitting in the front row said, David, you are so right about this. Every year I have a community barbecue. And I email all my clients to come to the barbecue. This year, instead of just emailing, I telephoned them. And I got the best response I've ever had. People said things like, we've been getting your emails forever, but the fact that you made a personal call to us means so much more. Yeah. Even if they don't come to the barbecue, it's a good call. I mean, I said to him, I said, even if nobody came to the barbecue, but you had called 100 people, it's still good. You got 100 people that got invited to a barbecue. So thank your clients, invite them to something. And the other third thing to do would give them a market update. Just say, Mr. and Mrs. Past client or friend or relative, I just, in an effort to be of value to you, I am just calling to see if you're interested in hearing what's going on in the real estate market. And keep your opening sentence kind of short and to the point. They might say yes or no, or we're busy, or whatever. But I think it's important that the people know you're live, know you're in business, and give them an opportunity to do business. Now, I'll give you another question that you can ask And this is more of a sales type question. This is more, you probably want to do, it's not the first question out of your mouth, but the best referral question that I have ever put together or teach is this one, where instead of saying, do you know of anybody who's thinking about buying or selling, instead you say, hey, of all of your neighbors or of all of your friends, who do you think would be the next to move? Who do you think would be the next to make a move? And it's a very powerful question because it's an open question. It's time based. Like, who do you think will be next? And they might say, well, Jim and Karen. They're not going to move for 2 years, but if I had to guess, they'd be next. Well, now you got somebody be a prospect 2 years from now. So, 2 key questions: how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home? Of all your friends, who do you think would be the next to move? This same lady that I was telling you about, Heidi, who sold my house, could have made a lot of money had she done that, but she didn't. Because while I was on the market, my neighbor, Nikki, comes over and gives me a big hug and says, hey, David, I'm going to miss you in the neighborhood. I hope all is well. Let's stay in touch, whatever. And I said, sure, I look forward to it. And then I asked her this question, Nikki, what are you going to do? Because I knew her 2 of her 3 kids are off to school. Her husband had sadly passed away of cancer some years ago. So it was just Nikki and one boy. And I said, Nikki, what are you going to do? And she said, this home is too big for me and Joy. I'm going to move this fall as well. So had Heidi called me up a few weeks after the sale, how are you doing? How's your new place? And then she could have said, do you have time for a quick business question? I would have said, sure, what? Now that you've moved there, of all of your neighbors, who do you think might be the next one to make a move? And I would have said, oh, Nikki Pugliese, right next door. 2 of her 3 kids are gone. She's thinking of moving away. And then she would have to ask permission, say, may I call her? And I would have said, absolutely. In fact, I'll give her a call and warm it up for you. And the tragic, true ending to this story would have been that I would have told her that Marvin Stephanie Siegel at the base of my driveway, I think they're moving too. Because Steph called me and said, hey, what would I have to do to my kitchen to get it ready for sale? And sure enough, she moved as well. So 2 homes, the one to one side of me and one at the bottom of my drive, both of them sold within the next few months, both of them listed with a realtor, and Heidi got neither one. She didn't even do a listing presentation, either one. So again, agents are running around trying to figure out how to make money in this market. They're buying stupid technology, buying leads, and they're doing all this stupid stuff when the money is just laying there right in front of them. Knock on the neighbors around your listing, call your past clients. And a lot of people say, well, David, that's old school. You're darn right it's old school. Old school works. A lot of the new school stuff, if you're going to do it, you have to do a lot of it. If you're going to buy leads, you have to buy a lot of them. You have to have people ready to answer the phones when the leads come in. And the problem is those leads were sold to 4 other, 5 other, 6 other real estate agents. Most of them are buyers. Most of them aren't ready to buy now. It's just, I don't understand why agents are so enamored with some of this high-tech stuff. And I think the answer is they're looking for the easy way. I think most agents are looking for an easy way. Can't I just tap on an app and make some money? That's what agents want, and it doesn't work this way. That after 17 years, right? Yep. So those are some simple ideas on sphere of influence. The other thing that Brandon wanted to ask me about was, commission. A lot of these companies like Purple Bricks or Redfin or thing like that they come out and they sound like they're doing really, really cheap commission. The first thing that you need to do if you're competing against these companies is to go to their website and look at their actual commission plan. Because what you're going to find out is that it's not as good as you think. And I'm going to make up some numbers here, so please just know I'm making up numbers just to make the point. But I've heard of these companies where they say, we only charge 1.5% commission.
Yeah.
And then your seller says 1.5%, and you guys charge 6%. You're 4.5% higher. They say, well, let's go to their website. And I would say to the seller, would you like your home to be put on MLS and be exposed to the other companies bringing buyers to your home? And then the other question I'd ask is, what percentage of homes in America do you think are sold by a cooperating broker, another company? And most sellers will go, gosh, I don't know. I would have no idea. And then you can tell them the number. It's 60, 70, 80%, or whatever your numbers are. And say, so there's an 80% chance your home is not going to be sold by the listing company, but by some other selling company, one of 150 in our market. So my question to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in order to reward and incite those salespeople to bring buyers, we typically pay out 3% to the selling broker. Do you think that's the smart thing to do? Well, yeah. Well, out of our 6%, I get 3, they get 3. So if you go to this other company at 1.5, I read their website. If you want a co-op agent come in, you're going to pay them 3. So that's 4.5. So our difference between us is only 1.5, not whatever. Now, still 1.5 is it's money, but at least you're going to talk reality. Don't talk 4%, talk 1.5. And then if you're on a $300,000 house, you say, Mr. Seller, we're looking at a $4,000, $4,500 difference. I mean, it's not an insignificant amount, but let's take a look at what we do compared to what the other company does.
Exactly.
And that's what you need to do. In fact, since you're here, when was the last time you bought a car?
Just a few months ago.
A few months ago, great. What kind of car was it?
It's Rogue Nissan.
A what?
Rogue Nissan.
Rogue Nissan. Okay, when you were you looking at other cars as well as that one?
I was, but mostly Nissan.
Mostly Nissan. Was there any other car you could have purchased that was less money than what you bought?
Yes, Kia.
Okay, so how much more did you pay for your car versus the next lowest price you could have?
Well, I'm still paying for my car.
Well, but in price, how much higher price was it than the next lowest price?
I don't know, because for 20 years I've been buying Nissan, so I wasn't even thinking. Somebody suggested to go buy Kia, but I didn't even bother to go to the prices. The difference was not much, if you want.
Okay. Well, then there was still, you did pay more for this car than some other car, correct?
Not really. It was more or less the same range,
Same range. Okay. Well, and we can sit down. It depends. But most people, when they buy a car, I've asked people and they say, well, I spent $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 more for this car than the one I could have bought. And I go, why did you do that? And they said, because it has GPS and heated seats and better resale value. And they come up with a difference. So
my important point was that it has a very good maintenance service. I trust the maintenance service.
Well, and there you go. So this had a maintenance service compared to something else. So I can always find a difference. Anytime I do this role play with somebody, there's always a difference where you paid more money. So remember that, because when sellers consider, buying the Nissan versus the less priced thing, you've got to show your points of difference. Yeah. And here's the question. Here's the best dialogue that I have ever taught in the area of commission objection. It's a very simple dialogue. So when you get down to the point of really getting close to where they're considering listing with you, you've done your presentation, they go, I really like you, we want to list with you, but this other company's 1 or 1.5% less, whatever. And I say to the seller, you know what, I appreciate that you have the opportunity to list with this other company, and if it's really important to you to have 1% less, you have a company that will do that for you. But let me ask you this, and here's the question. If our fees were the same, who would you list with tonight? That's it. If our fees were the same, who would you list with tonight? What will they say?
Yes.
Well, no. If our fees were the same, who would you list with tonight, me or the other company? What will they say?
They will say with us, with you.
Yeah. They better say that. If they don't, you better get out, because you're more money and they don't like you. But in most cases, if you do your job right, if you do a good listing presentation, you say, if our fees are the same, who would you list with tonight? And they'll say, oh, we'd go with you. Great. So our fees are the same, you'd go with me. Why would you do that? And again, the follow-up question is the key part. You say, why would you do that? And they'll say, because of the maintenance plan, heated seats, better internet photos, your sale to list price is higher, your days on market is shorter, and you go through all the differences that you presented in your listing. Now, at the end, they still may list with the other company, but at least you made it clear what your points of difference were. So very, very important. But if our fees are the same, who would you hire? They'd say you, and you go, great, why? And they say, because all of these things. You go, see, Mr. Russo, you just identified, 4, 5, 6 major differences between us and the other company. Do you see why our fee is a little bit higher? But more importantly, do you see how that will help you get more money in a shorter time with least inconvenience? And as soon as they kind of nod their head, you want to hand them a pen and a contract and get them to sign. I mean, don't just sit there and wait for them to raise another objection. You say, great, well, let's go ahead and get started. Now, they may come back again. They may come back again and again. And that's the way it is. And you keep pointing out differences. And at some point, the decision is going to be made. They're going to go, okay, all right, we'll go with you. Or they're going to go, nope, we're going to go with the other guy. And they go with the other guy, and you go, well, I'm sorry. Then I'm just telling the truth. I'm so disappointed not to be able to represent you. But I respect your decision to list with another company. I wish you well. If I can't be your first agent, maybe I could be your last. Here's my card, and thanks for your time. And then they're going to say, so you mean you would rather have 100% of nothing than 85% of something? And your answer is yes, sir. I have a policy. I decided I wanted to compete on value, not on fee. So I just hope you'll respect my position to do that. And they'll go, well, all right. And by the way, sometimes you're halfway out the door and they go, wait a minute, come back here. And they might, who knows? I mean, you can't guarantee that, but those are some of the ways to deal with commission objections. Now, in our online training, if you go to our site and you go to curriculum and click on negotiating, well, not negotiating, sorry, wrong one. Closing and objections. You'll see let me see if you can do this. So you do closing and objections, you're going to see the categories, and then you click on commission. And these are all the videos we have on commission. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think there's more on another page. So we've got a lot of great role plays and demonstrations. In fact, one of the old videos I did, really, this is 20 years old. This was the Mentor Series 2. The code in our training is MS2, or you can click on series and watch the Mentor series, MS09, MS09. It shows some really, really fun role plays. Now, again, they're 20 years old, but the dialogue in them is absolutely perfect today. If you listen to just the audio, you wouldn't know it's 20 years old. So I see our time, got a minute to go here. Just is anything else you want to ask since you are so attentive today?
Well, no, it's very interesting because I have always followed exactly the points that you were saying, except for the commission that I could not argue with them.
Yep.
That's with these companies that they are coming with zero. I receive a letter from brokers saying that we don't charge you for listing. So this is not true because they need to earn money. So I don't understand why people fall for those traps.
Well, they fall for it. It's called the bait and switch. Supermarkets will often do that, free butter today. Well, because you'll probably end up buying bread and everything else. Yeah, but again, you need to do your homework. You need to research those sites. They say you charge you zero, but then you get there and you still have to pay out to the co-op broker. You have to pay a transaction fee, service fee, closing fee, cleaning fee. And then they probably say, if you'd like to be in the MLS, it's going to be this and that. So I think you got to be really, really, really careful and make sure you know your competition. Because if you don't know what they do, you're dead in the water. I mean, that's it. You're just going to have to go, well, okay, and cave in. So that's the challenge. I remember there was a day when all the real estate speakers started doing free seminars. Well, I don't work for free. And at that point, and I just said, you know what? I guess I'm not going to speak this year. Sometimes you just don't take the listing, and it was hard. And then I talked to some of my clients. I said, what was the free seminar like? Oh, it was horrible. The guy came in and all he did was sell his product. The whole thing was a product commercial. I said, well, that's what you get for free. The speakers came in, and I'm sure you've been at seminars where speakers sell I sell products at my seminar, but I don't beat them. I don't spend all day doing it. I'll do a 3-minute commercial and say, here's what we had. So, and here's the other thing. There are 80, I'm going to make up a number. I think it's pretty close. I've been in the business 40 years. I think I can make up a number. I'm going to say 80% of the people out there, the clients are out there, they're willing to pay for good value and good service. There's 20% of them, they're going to go cheap, 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 and there's not a lot of you can do about it. But there's going to be $70 billion worth of commissions generated this year. $70 billion. So worst case scenario, 20 billion of that is gone to the discount companies, but that still leaves $50 billion worth of commission. Go get your share.
I will.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And I hope this has another life, and now that it's been recorded. And so when we're done, if you want, I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and you can click you can tell Brandon to click the stop recording button, and it'll save the file to his laptop.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Nice to meet you all. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.